Citronelle has been called the land of healing waters, and there are many reasons for that. Years before the European settlers arrived in the United States, the area that is now called Citronelle was populated by Native Americans, obviously. And it's said that the Indians called the area Citronella, which means I heal. Later on in 1777, William Bertram was a naturalist, American naturalist, who traveled all over the United States documenting various plants, and he came to Citronelle on a canoe trip up from Mobile, and there was an Indian village here in Citronelle at that time as well, and he found a plant that's called the Collinsia canadensis, which is like a heal-all. Horse balm or ox balm are common names for that plant, and the Indians were using it for the medicinal purposes. In 1851, the railroad was built into Citronelle from Mobile. It just went from Mobile to Citronelle and later on to Meridian and up to Chicago. And the M&O Railroad named the stop at Citronelle. And so that's how our town got our name, based on Citronella, I heal. There are a lot of geological reasons why Citronelle is a very healthful place, and the number one reason is the altitude. We're the highest in altitude all the way from the coast of Maine all the way to Texas. And for the distance that we are from the Gulf of Mexico or from the Atlantic Ocean, we are the highest point at that distance from Maine to Texas. Another reason is because of the pine trees. The pollen of pine trees is proven to have many medicinal qualities, and because of all the pine trees we have in Citronelle, that was another reason why we were said to have a salubrious climate. Another geological reason that Citronelle is healthful is the Citronelle Formation, which is a formation that extends all the way from Texas to Florida. And sometimes it's several hundred feet below the surface, but at Citronelle it is on the surface of our town, and it's there it's most evident, and that's why that whole entire formation from Texas to Florida is called the Citronelle Formation. And what it is clay and sand and gravel that act as a natural aquifer, and an aquifer filters water. And so the water that comes to the surface of Citronelle is filtered quite well. In the late 1870s, maybe 1875, Citronelle became known as a resort town. But it wasn't until the mid-1890s that hotels started to spring up all over Citronelle. In fact, we had 7 hotels at one point, and 2 of them were first-class hotels. One of those was the Hygeia Hotel, and it served as a tuberculosis sanatorium. Dr. J.G. Michaels, Citronelle's first mayor, was the proprietor of that hotel, and there were famous scientists and bacteriologists and others focusing or specializing in tuberculosis who came from all over the world to Citronelle to treat patients there. We have a cottage from the Hygeia Hotel, which is the last remaining structure of the Hygeia Hotel complex, which was quite a huge complex. It had a bowling alley, it had croquet courts and tennis courts and a golf course. It was quite the first-class resort. The other hotel of note is the Hotel Citronelle. The water at the Hotel Citronelle induced the researchers at the Chicago Pure Water Journal and Clinic to come to Citronelle and test the waters, and they were deemed to be 99.99963% pure of minerals, which makes the water obviously of great diuretic value. The other thing that we're known for, though, is we're the oil capital of Alabama. In 1955, oil was discovered there under the Citronelle Dome, under the Citronelle Formation that I was talking about earlier. And within 9 years, over 400 oil wells sprung up, and today there are almost, per 40 acres, there's one oil well in Citronelle. And so we are the oil capital of Alabama. It's been one of the biggest oil finds ever in Alabama. There is a lot of history in Citronelle. Our old depot is now a museum. It was built in 1903, and there are a lot of historical buildings and old homes that are still standing in Citronelle. There's a plantation-style home that was not built during that era, but was built after that style. That's still in Citronelle. It's quite the sight to see, and there's a lot of history there. The old railroad road now is a walking trail, and it allows you to walk through a lot of what is, or what was, downtown Citronelle of days past.